Today's episode of the BS Podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. That's our presenting sponsor. It's the only fan-friendly app for buying and selling tickets for sports and music. In November, you have hockey, basketball, NFL, college football, college basketball. You need SeatGeek. Drop your old ticket app. Use one bill for 2016. Buy tickets, enter stadiums on your phone. Download the free SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. We're also brought to you by Life After. Did you ever wonder what happens to our digital lives when we're gone? Could we be brought back to life through our online personalities? Whoa. In a new series from GE Podcast Theater in Panoply called Life After, the creators of last year's award-winning The Message explores those very questions. Listen, subscribe, download Life After today on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get podcasts. Speaking of podcasts, we're also brought to you by TheRinger.com and the Ringer Podcast Network. Check out our new gamer podcast on Channel 33. It's called Achievement Oriented. It's hosted by Jason Concepcion and Ben Lindbergh. This weekend, they broke down the new Nintendo NES Classic release. I'm mad at Nintendo, by the way. How do you short order those? I know they're trying to stimulate interest and all that stuff, but that was just a dick move. And I also heard the cords were too small. Anyway, listen to that podcast, Achievement Oriented. And hopefully Nintendo will put out more because I was really excited to play Tecmo Bowl with my son. Subscribe to the Channel 33 podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever else. Here we go. Welcome to the BS Podcast, as always, on Mondays. Our old friend, Cousin Sal, how are you?
What's happening, Bill?
Finally good football.
Yeah, the whole day.
It took 10 weeks. Took 10 weeks to enjoy an entire football day from start to finish.
It really
finally
was.
Happened.
And like the Sunday ticket, they do the fans' choice. They pick the best 4 games in the early games, and they really nailed it. They had the Minnesota-Washington. They had
that was a good one.
New Orleans-Denver.
Great one.
They had...
Actually, not a great one. Sloppy, but dramatic.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh-Dallas was great.
Pittsburgh-Dallas was great.
KC-Carolina was dramatic, not great.
That was one of the fans' choices. And we say Atlanta.
Oh, Philly-Atlanta.
Philly.
That was good. That was probably my favorite one, just because Philly showed me some stuff in that game. They're physical. They're a playoff team. I don't know. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, but they're definitely a playoff team.
They're weird.
I don't know if they'll make the playoffs.
You look at their stats, and it doesn't really ever add up, win or lose. Like Carson Wentz, I think, went for 230, no touchdowns, lost a fumble, but they won, and they won. You know, you're pretty convinced they were going to win the whole way through.
Yeah, that's how I felt, too.
Last place, 5-4.
In the NFC East.
Is this place haunted? What happened?
I don't know. There's some drilling. There's some drilling in the Sunset Gower right now. Yeah, I don't know what to make of the playoff picture anymore because it seems like we're now locked into 3 AFC West playoff teams. Mm-hmm. That's happening. Yeah. Unless there's some dramatic injury or something like that. NFC East, I don't feel the same way. I don't feel like we're locked into 3 NFC East playoff teams at all. I really hope the drilling doesn't come out of this podcast. But if you had to pick 2 NFC East teams other than your team, who would be the other team?
I think the Giants are
really
putting together a quiet, eerily similar to their Super Bowl run years. I talked to my friend Darren about this. It's their defense is getting better. They put teams away. You know, they're just doing that weird thing. They're playing a little possum. And what are they, 5-3?
Yeah, they got the Monday night game tonight against Cincy, which seems like the classic letdown game at home in a night game for the Giants, which we've seen a million times. But yeah,
maybe. But
I also wouldn't take Cincy in that game either.
They scare me a little bit. And I'll tell you what, there's a little sub-story here that I think. Like Ezekiel Elliott, MVP of the league as far as I'm concerned, big Cowboys fan. Of course, I would think that. Ongoing investigation. He's public enemy number 1 in terms of NFL investigators with this domestic abuse thing that happened to them. Like they can't let it go, and they have to look into it because of people like you. But no,
what did I do?
You kill the commissioner. You'll cut his nuts off. But no, they should look into it. But this is why Josh Brown should win MVP.
Oh, if Dallas gets screwed up?
Yes, exactly. Because
if
of
the
Josh
Giants
Bryan.
leapfrog Dallas,
stupid Giants
Josh Brown's
kicker,
a dick.
Who was completely replaceable, And now they have to look into Zeke Elliott even further, and the Giants are going to sneak in and do some bad things.
Barnwell made the case that on ESPN today that Dallas's offensive line should be the MVP.
Yeah.
But, he made that case at Grantland for another team once, I remember. But
if he made that case at Grantland, you should own that case. You should not be allowed to make that case
ESPN
anymore.
owns that case, I think.
I see.
It's an interesting theory to have a 5-man unit as the MVP.
Yeah.
Obviously can happen, but at the same time, I would agree the most valuable thing in the NFL this season is Dallas's offensive line.
That's where it begins and ends, right?
Do you think Pittsburgh let Elliott score at the end there?
Ooh.
The second to last touchdown, not the last one. When it was 155 left.
Can't keep track of all the touchdowns.
Many. There's so many untouched Elliott touchdowns.
I don't know what they did, but if they did let him score, I thought they scored way too soon. All
Pittsburgh.
right, I'm fine. I'm impressed with the fake spike and everything. But
yeah, great.
Hey, we have 43 seconds left, 3 timeouts, and a field goal wins. Doesn't even tie.
I agree.
I like this. I like this position. And then you're one dumb face mask call away from putting your team in field goal range. And that's exactly what happened. And they scored anyway.
I thought of you multiple times during that game because it was really the day the dream for Tony Romo died. And it was so bittersweet for you. You love the Cowboys so much. You love Romo so much. It was such an exciting game. But you get it, too.
You saw the 80-yard screen touchdown pass. Like what it does to a QBR.
He was
good for Dak.
In the third quarter, he was 8 for 15 for 170 yards because of that one pass.
Right.
But he is good, man. He made some big third down throws.
He's damn good. That 3rd and 11 pass to Dez, that touchdown,
A couple big plays to Witten. He knows how to find Witten.
Yeah, he gets bailed out a little bit, but he's so poised for a guy like that, for a guy his age. I can't talk over the
drilling.
I don't know if anyone can hear, but
it's fine. They can barely hear it. The fact that he gets so much time makes me wonder. Romo's just got to be on the sidelines. Yeah. He's got that he's got the professional smile on his face, but he's got to be just dying inside.
He's a good teammate, but I'm sure he is dying. And he'll back him up. They'll do the right thing, and we'll see. Let me just say this. I'm taking matters into my own hands now.
With Dak?
Yeah. I don't even know what that means.
Put something in his glove compartment?
I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to tell you because then I'll blow the whole thing.
Well, you have the most wins in the NFL right now. You have 8. You have 8 wins.
Thanks to a choke job by the Patriots, we have the most wins.
It was a choke job.
How did you feel about that?
I thought Seattle deserved to win the game. I thought they played better. Our front seven was abominable, and Collinsworth the whole game is talking about how Seattle's finally figured out their offensive line. We have no pass rush.
I couldn't believe it.
What's there to figure out? We can't pressure anybody.
That was the key drive right before the half ended, where you shouldn't have even given up a field goal, and Seattle ended up scoring a touchdown. But you're rushing 2, and there's, like you said, Collinsworth's like, this Seattle offensive line, they've really figured it out.
Yeah,
like,
it gets
you're rushing 2.
Yeah.
You might as well rush 0 because 2 is never going to get through to 4, and Wilson's going to be able to do whatever he wants.
It's been a terrible year for Matt Patricia, but some of these drives they're giving up are just embarrassing. They're not Super Bowl teams. Super Bowl teams don't give up that Doug Baldwin pass at the end of the first half and things like that. It's just terrible. The only 2 players who could have really hurt them on the field were Baldwin and Graham, and Baldwin just kept getting open in big spots.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and this is why at halftime I never would bet against my team in a game like that, but at halftime I thought Seattle was a great bet because they had dropped 5 passes in the first half. They had guys open that whole half. Wilson had time. He was doing whatever he wants. They could run the ball. It didn't really seem like the Pats were ever going to stop them. I think they only had 2 punts the whole game, Seattle.
And they came to play. I know it's stupid to say one team tries harder than the other or whatever, but, and you thought that Belichick off the bye, all the numbers were in his favor. But this team this is the toughest team you played, the team that wanted to win the most. And I felt like, I hate to bring up an NBA analogy. Here I go again. But Gronk they did to Gronk what they do to Steph Curry, what the Cavs, and when you play an East Coast team, an Eastern Conference team, and he was not the same after that Earl Thomas hit.
They stopped throwing it to him.
Yeah,
I actually thought that was one of the worst plays Brady's made in a while because he led Gronk right into Earl Thomas.
Yeah,
and especially it's a long season and guys are taking shots at Gronk all year anyway. I just don't think it's worth it. You do that in the fourth quarter if you really need. A play. I don't know in the second quarter, whenever that was. But, the Pats defense got exposed because you look at who they played this season. Cards in week 1. Tannehill in week 2 put up a ton of garbage points against them. Osweiler, Tyrod Taylor, the Browns, whoever the hell started that game, Dalton, Landry Jones, Tyrod Taylor again. Wilson did whatever he wanted in that game. I mean, he was awesome. What did he have, like 370 yards or something, 3 TDs? You were going against him in fantasy.
You killed me. I know.
Well, I don't know if I
scored like 70 points in one game.
I know. But yeah, I'm up 40, but you have Eifert and Jeremy Hill, and for some reason I'm not comfortable.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I played in 2 leagues. I played one against Doug Baldwin and one against LeGarrette Blount, and I had a healthy lead in both of them, and I'm gonna get killed.
I had the Wilson Baldwin combo.
Yeah,
which like once a year when you have the QB and the best receiver in the same team, they get 3 touchdowns. It's just like 8 points per touchdown.
And you'll remember that next year. You're like, no, they hooked up all the time.
Yeah, it's really only one time.
But what is it about Belichick and Carroll that they bring out the worst in each other, coaching wise? Like the rushing 2 for Belichick, the suspect play call, Pete Carroll going for 2 up 7.
I actually like that.
You like that as a Patriots fan.
I did, because they had momentum and we couldn't stop them in the game. No, I didn't want them to do that. That's how I felt as a Patriot fan.
You didn't want them to go for 2.
I wanted them to kick an extra point. I didn't think we could stop them.
Oh, well, someone who had Patriots -1.5, I was like, yeah, you go try this, and then we'll get the extra point on the other
interesting.
end. Yeah.
I was really concerned when they did that. I thought the game was going to be over. We hadn't stopped them once. They did whatever they wanted. But on the other side,
I don't know.
Those 4 plays that we ran were just awful. They were just awful.
Yeah, that was a good no call at the end, right?
Yeah, I was fine with it. Gronk lunged into the guy.
90% of the contact.
But
who knows what the quarterback sneak that was fumbled would have? That probably should have been enough. If he handles the fumble,
just give it to LeGarrette
he
Blount.
might get in. He was running.
I just wish I like when we spread everyone out and just pound it with Blount. He's gonna get a yard,
right?
But the Gronk play, that the part I didn't understand, the whole left side was wide open, and they've run a variation of that play where he just cuts toward the middle, and it's unstoppable because he's so big. The guy comes in and he's just going to bounce off Gronk.
Yeah,
and that's what I thought they're going to do. I was excited, and then they ran that fade play, which is almost like they're trying to get the interference play.
Right.
But Seattle, they're really good at just being really physical the whole game, and after a while, the refs become accustomed to just a certain level of physicality.
Yeah.
I thought they played really well in that game.
They weren't going to lose the 1 yard line again. They willed it to happen.
That's a beatable Seattle team though, because I'm still not sold on that offensive line. And when Wilson has time like that, yeah, they're awesome. But he's not. They're going to play a defense in the playoffs. He's not going to have time.
Probably
like
not.
That.
But I think in 4 weeks we're going to say they're better than Dallas or whoever, and they're favored to win the NFC. I think they'll figure it out.
It seems like there's 3 teams, and then there's everyone else. Pat's Dallas, Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't think Pittsburgh could have maybe moved into the fringe of that, but Pittsburgh's defense isn't very good. Like,
yeah,
that's
that
a
was
problem.
rough. That was weird. But
KC,
we'll get
for
to
some
their
reason,
number.
nobody's thinking as an elite team. Like I wouldn't think anyone would put them in the top 3, and yet they just keep winning games.
I think they're really good, and they're doing it. And is it possible that Andy Reid is out coaching a lot of these teams, like falling behind and then winning the games? And just it's very strange how he's doing it. Without his best running back, without his best receiver, the defense is usually banged up. They came to play yesterday, finally.
And they didn't have Houston for 6 games. I can't name a single Chief that I'd feel great about starting in a fantasy week.
Right.
Who's their lead receiver? Macklin?
Yeah, well, he hasn't played. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be their lead receiver. So it's that Tyreek Hill and
you go tight end. I think Kelsey when he's not.
Kelsey, yeah. But even he's not one of the top 4 tight ends, and yet they just grind him out, man. They have 7 wins already.
I think they have the easier. All 3 teams, Denver, KC, and Oakland, have a tough run at the end. They all play each other a bunch of times, but it seems like KC has slightly easier road.
Well, you have Houston has 6 and Tennessee has 5 wins. Houston, Osweiler didn't even crack 100 yards yesterday. The Texan fans are out of their mind that they just think he's a bum.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's a bum or not, but it doesn't seem like it's the right offense for him. And I don't understand why he can't get the ball to Hopkins.
It shouldn't, right?
It shouldn't be that hard to get the
ball
ball to Hopkins.
Fuller comes back, it should be even better. But,
right.
But that team just beats their division. They've won 8 in a row. And you and I want to root for Tennessee, especially after seeing all that offense yesterday. How about
It'd be more fun.
Win 2 games in a row, Tennessee. Let us get excited about you.
They're 35 plus in the last 3 games for their offense, which is fun. So I think we get only one playoff team out of that division.
Oh, yeah.
I think Pittsburgh or Baltimore. I don't think both. Mm-hmm. We're going to get at least 2 out of the AFC West. Probably 3, but at least 2. Now, Miami's interesting.
I was just going to say, are we sleeping on the Dolphins here?
Well, that's the thing, because I looked at their schedule.
4 in a row they've won.
Right. They're 5-4. They're at the Rams this week.
Mm-hmm.
They're at San Francisco. They're at Baltimore. Home for Arizona. At the Jets. At Buffalo. And then home for the Pats in Week 17 in a game where the Pats might have locked everything up by now.
Yeah.
So there's a road for 10 wins for them, maybe
Could
even
get
11.
To 10.
They could get to 11. They could go.
Well, I don't know.
They could go 6-1 down the stretch with that schedule. It's conceivable.
I guess. It's a different team with Ajayi running like he does. Takes a little pressure off Tannehill. Defense is playing well, but I don't know if they're 11. But they could get to 10.
Did you watch that San Diego Miami? Did you watch a lot of that one, or were you concentrated on Dallas?
I was concentrated on Dallas, but I saw it.
Tannehill made some great plays in that game. That was the best I've seen him play against a good team. Mm-hmm. In a situation where they needed him. And then I don't know what happened to Rivers.
Yeah, he fell apart.
It's almost like he should say he had food poisoning at halftime, or like he was just throwing the ball for grabs.
He had 4
4.
picks.
Their last 5 drives were 4 picks and a touchdown. Wow. And actually a second touchdown because one was a pick 6 touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, they're a fun team, but they're just not, and they're on a bye this week. 4-6.
Would you cross off San Diego?
I think 4-6. You have to cross off in that division, right? Because 10-6,
and they have some brutal games left.
Yeah,
they have. They got a bye week this week, but then Houston, Tampa, Carolina. All the games are winnable. The toughest 2 are home for Oakland, home for KC.
Home for Oakland, KC. All right. So if they don't, really, they have to win both of those.
The thing is that. What is it now? 10 fourth quarter collapses for McCoy? Because there was some article Katie Baker put in the Ringers Winners and Losers this week, and they were already up to, it was from October, and they're already up to 8 fourth quarter collapses, and they've had 2 more.
Yeah. There's going to be, he has a few more left.
Wait, can you believe how this LA football thing worked out?
Has it worked out? I don't know.
Or how it has not worked out? We went up with the Rams, who... I would say, all things considered, are the worst team to watch in football.
Oh, yeah. So boring.
Every game is the worst game you've ever seen in your life.
The games they won 2 games where they didn't score a touchdown.
Their punter is the star of the team.
Yeah.
He hit 80-yard punt yesterday. It was like one of the greatest punts I've ever seen in my life.
6 of their 9 games they have scored 1 or 0 touchdowns.
So then you get this sad Chargers team.
Yeah.
That would be coming in. Mm-hmm. Nobody even cares about the Rams. We're going to have 2 teams? This is idiotic.
Them. We should be able to trade them.
Why is this happening? Why can't we stop it?
We should be able to. California's going to succeed from the union anyway. We should be able to do whatever we want.
Is that happening?
No.
Do we get our own flag?
They'll get a lot of petitions, signed names on the petition, but...
Actually, let's talk about that, but I got to say hi to our friends at Squarespace. They make it easy to build beautiful websites without breaking a sweat, regardless of skill level. No coding needed. Whether you need a landing page, a beautiful gallery, a professional blog, or an online store, it's all included with your Squarespace website, and their state-of-the-art technology ensures security and stability. You get 24/7 online support. You can even design a best-in-class online store with Squarespace's award-winning templates and customizable settings. And with Squarespace Commerce, you get all the tools you need to track inventory, process orders, send custom emails, and one intuitive interface. Squarespace makes it easy to add a domain to your site. You sign up for a year that you'll receive a custom domain for free for 1 year. Start a free trial today. No credit card required. Squarespace.com. Use offer code BS to get 10% off your first purchase. Speaking of purchases, you and I purchased in August a gigantic Hillary Clinton Pats to win the AFC East bet.
Yeah.
I was at that table in that restaurant in Vegas, Nobu, telling you there's no way the Pats aren't going to win the AFC East. Every year we don't win money on this. Yeah. What are we doing? And we dreamed up this phenomenal bet, and it had no chance to lose, and then we lost. And I think it's the number one bet we've ever lost together.
Oh, I
because
don't
the
know.
future of the country is at stake.
Yeah, and people are blaming us on Twitter for
It's our fault.
pro Hillary fans saying we put our stink
Definitely.
we put our stink on that bet, and the
Definitely.
nation should turn to us.
We put our stink on all the people who didn't come out and vote for Hillary.
Well, I will say, and I'm not even supporting one way or the other, but as far as a sure thing goes, I'm a little gun shy now about getting up and screaming about liking anyone giving 2 points or 3 points when the surest thing keeping Donald Trump out of office should have happened and didn't. Like, it just...
She was minus 600 the weekend before.
And
the
got
election.
to minus 750 Tuesday morning and around noon. And then everyone got in their car and drove home, and it was like wow, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, maybe, Florida. Yeah, that checks all the boxes. How is this happening?
And you were watching the live betting during the day, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because you texted me at one point. I was with the TV show people because we were putting together the last show.
Yeah.
And that everyone's trying to be optimistic. All watching on TV, like, no. And then you texted me, Trump is minus 1,200 on the live line right now. I'm like, oh my God.
It's happened.
That's like the Patriots home against Cleveland up 20 at the half.
Right.
They'd be minus 1,200.
Right, exactly.
And that was when I knew our next president was going to be named Donald J. Trump. But I don't know what
So
we do.
bizarre.
I might have to retire from gambling. I didn't even gamble this week.
Yeah,
I might
I
be
know.
done.
But yeah, I mean,
And I really like this week too. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what way's up anymore.
Well, we would have had the Patriots on some kind of teaser. We would have had to.
I would not.
No?
I doubled
Really?
on Seattle and ZFL.
Wow.
Yeah. I did not like the matchup because we have no pass rush. I just felt like Wilson was going to do whatever he wanted. Now, we could have outscored Seattle, but...
What do you think about Peter King saying it's the biggest rivalry in football? I can't.
You know, I read that and I made a face and I thought it was ridiculous, and then I couldn't come up with one rivalry that topped
Steelers
it.
Bengals. Those teams kill each other every time.
I think he meant more like the most marketable rivalry right
I
now.
don't know.
But this...
What if that game ended up a clunker and then it
I
couldn't
know.
it be? Like what?
The thing with the NFL, though, is these rivalries seem to have like a 3 or 4 year shelf life.
Yeah.
Steelers-Ravens was absolutely
That was
phenomenal
fun.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
And Pat's Colts during the Brewski era was with Manning
Right,
and Brady.
Manning.
Like,
It
that
more
was
players
awesome
than,
for 8 years.
Than teams, sure.
But I would say Pat Seahawks cannot be a rivalry since they're not going to play again for 4 years.
2020, unless they meet in the
Unless
Super
they
Bowl.
meet in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Can your team rush can they pressure Wilson? Because that's going to determine whether you win that game or not.
Well, I think we would send one guy the whole time.
A one-man pass
yeah,
rush?
one guy, and not even a guy on the team. We would just pick someone out of the crowd. Just drives me crazy. Why does he get so cute with this stuff, Belichick? Like, all you hear about is the offensive line, how horrible it is. And you're going to rush too? You're doing him a favor?
I've been dubious of Matt Patricia for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was one of the worst games he's had.
Yeah.
And the real issue for the Pats, and this is something Lombardi has been calling out in the podcast for a while, is there's no fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Butler's been fantastic this season. He's been really good, and he's been also good coming up and tackling running backs and stuff like that. And he's popping people. Like, he's playing, you know, like he's got something at stake. And a lot of these guys just don't seem like that.
Yeah.
I don't see that kind of energy on that side.
And yet we discuss all this, and really, if Edelman doesn't fumble, they kept him up and tortured him for 12 seconds before he fumbled. Like, you win the game, or if Brady doesn't throw that bad pick or whatever.
I think whoever... Yeah,
I want to say
we
whoever
probably
had
do.
it last, but yeah, I know. It's just a lot of weird stuff happened for Seattle to win.
I thought it
they're
was
good.
bizarre that we flipped a script for the Super Bowl, and we had the ball on the 1 yard line doing dumb things.
Yeah.
And we had made the same mistake they made, was just to not give the ball to the guy who was going to get a yard.
Is there a chance that Belichick goes for 2 if they make it there? Just an extra F you to Carroll. Said, listen, no?
I don't think so. Our little receivers haven't been good enough this year. Edelman's not the same guy anymore. I mean, he peaked. The Super Bowl year and the year before was when he kind of peaked statistically. I don't think he's the same kind of playmaker anymore.
It's weird, too, because you're lining up 2 big guys outside sometimes. You have Bennett and Gronk outside and then Small in the middle. It should open up for Edelman, but
yeah,
maybe he's tired of getting popped over the middle.
All right, want to do the Week 11 lines. I like Week 11. Week 10, Week 11 are my favorite weeks to pick games because we finally have enough info.
Right.
Even though this has been such a wonky year, at least we have a general idea of what teams are good at and not that good at. And we have enough advanced metric stuff that, you can say stuff like Philly getting points at home against Atlanta did not make sense.
Right.
That just was
2 months of games worth.
we have 2 months of games, and that was just a bad line. That was the public.
Right.
Or Vegas said it because they knew people liked Atlanta. But
So the buys are Atlanta, Denver, New Jersey, the Jets, and San Diego.
so some fantasy implications this week.
Oh yeah, there's good players.
There's some
out
good
there.
players that are going to be taking a seat this week.
Yeah. Now, did you bet on Boomer saying Bryce Petty and the Heartbreakers or Petty and the Jets?
Oh, interesting.
I don't even know the answer.
I would have said Bryce Petty and the Jets.
Okay, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. Although he's going pretty simple these days. Yesterday highlight he had Le'Veon Ding Dong Bell. I'm like, oh boy.
Le'Veon Ding Dong Bell.
Yeah, that's the sound the bell makes. Ding dong. That's what he said.
Every Monday we do the Don Julio shot of the week. Don Julio, the world's original handcrafted tequila with multiple unique tequilas, including Don Julio 1942, the best luxury tequila you will ever drink. We can either guess the Monday game or the Thursday game.
Did
Did
we win
lose again
last week? I can't remember.
I think we won last week.
Well, we didn't take Cleveland, Baltimore.
No, we won last week.
Buffalo, Seattle. We took Buffalo over
Yeah,
Seattle.
we won that one.
Right. Okay, good.
We're gonna win this one too.
All right. So
But
it's
let's
Thursday.
guess the Thursday line though, because
Okay.
I might guess that game. I don't know what the line is. It's at Carolina. I think Carolina's season is probably over, but technically it's not. They're 3-6. They could run this late, so you can't really write them off yet. The Saints are a good football team that might not make the playoffs. I thought they did a nice job in that Denver game. They're a little sloppy, but
Hard to put them away. That's for sure.
they keep coming and coming. I like how even though Breeze had a couple picks, he came flying back. The
Right.
receivers are good. I have the Panthers giving 3 points to the Saints.
I had 3.5, and I got it right. It is 3.5.
Really?
Gave
So
him
an
the
extra
hook
half
there.
point for Thursday night?
I guess maybe. So yeah, because Carolina's 3-6, New Orleans 4-5. They don't really go by the record anymore. Carolina's been getting the benefit of the doubt, and
So we could go with that, or we could go with Giants versus Bengals. What's that line?
now the
2.5?
Giants are a 1-point favorite. The Bengals were one yesterday. That's been flip flopping. Weird. Anyway,
What's your
with the
explanation
Bengals.
for that?
I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know what my explanation is, but it's a Ring of Honor game for the Giants. I think Coughlin's going in, and they blow those games. And I'm taking Cincinnati plus the point.
With
My
your Don Julio?
game. Yeah. Take that, Don Julio. What are you going to do?
I'm going to take the Saints.
You are.
Yeah, I think they're better. I don't think Carolina is very good. I don't know what happened to them. I think the NFL, you have those 2-3 teams every year that the previous year they're good, then all of a sudden they're not. Arizona's another one. Arizona's just not good.
Carolina was up 17-0, and
Yeah.
Atlanta was losing, and the Saints were losing. I'm like, oh boy, they're going to win this game, and they're going to be right back in it for
Yeah.
the division. And now I just feel like, I feel they're done.
Cam blew the game. He did. He just wasn't good. He was the reason they lost.
Our boy Tate is pretending not to listen. He can't hear it. He's got
Cam blew that game.
got 3 sets of headphones
Tate
on.
was at a wedding this weekend for his brother. I don't even
Oh,
know if
really?
you saw it.
Yeah, it was very sad, but they did it to the Vikings too. They don't have it.
He said the wedding was sad. The game wasn't.
Did you cry at the wedding?
So, the Saints. My only hesitation would be.
This is a
You know-
rematch. Saints won 41-38 in October 16th.
Also, I have no. I don't know what the record is, but I just have a recollection of the Saints in Carolina. Things going badly at least 4 or 5 times during the Breeze era. Right?
Yeah.
They'd go down there. All bad things would happen. But I don't know.
Thursday
3.5
night.
points. It feels like a 3-point game, right?
Thursday night. You're on your own with the Thursday night games. I don't know.
I like offense on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
I wish they got rid of the Thursday night games.
What was the
I'd
last
really
one?
be fine.
Oh, it was Baltimore.
You'd be fine.
Cleveland.
I'd be fine. We'd all
What
be
would
fine.
we complain about?
Dude,
What
we'd
would
be
we do?
fine. You know when we could have used this game or that Thursday game was on Sunday when I only had 2 games.
What?
We had yesterday we had Steelers Cowboys.
There were 3.
And we had
later.
Chargers Dolphins, and we had that terrible Cards Niners game
That
that
was
you
bad.
deserve whatever happened to you if you watched 1 minute
Right.
of that. And that was it.
Yeah.
Could have used the 4th one.
I never heard an explanation why they only do 3 late afternoon. But you're
No,
right.
the explanation is they want the national audience.
Well,
for,
so you think Cleveland, Baltimore would have helped that late afternoon slot?
Maybe.
It's a terrible game. All right.
Maybe it nudges something down. All right, so we go to is that a loser leaves town match?
I think so. Yeah.
Week 11. Finally, we get some loser leave town
I think
match.
Carolina's already left town, even though they're home.
Well, Carolina's packed.
Yeah.
They've paid it. They paid the security deposit in the apartment, but they have not actually left their apartment yet.
So they're 2.5. They're 2.5 games behind Atlanta.
yeah,
6-4 to 3-6. That's tough because I don't think they're getting a wild card.
yeah. I was gonna say the 9 teams I thought we could write off: Jets, Bears, Jaguars, Niners, Browns. Yes. Rams, Bucks. Yeah. San Diego, Carolina. I think you can write them off.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's another one.
The last thing I wrote off was Donald Trump a week ago, so I'm feeling
You're
good.
doing good. There's another loser leaves town. You want to get to that Sunday?
Yeah, let's do it.
Buffalo at Cincy. I think that's loser leave town. 4-5 against 3-4-1.
And if Cincy
Well,
loses
yeah,
today, they're
right.
3-5-1.
Right.
Only problem is 9 wins might take the AFC North. It's conceivable.
So then they'd have to go if they lost tonight. Maybe they won't lose tonight.
It's
so
a
they have
borderline.
to go 6-1 or something.
Yeah, it's a borderline. I had the Bengals by 3.5 over the Bills.
We both get this. I said 3.5. Also, it's 4.5.
Whoa.
Was 5 and then went down to 4.5.
Why don't people like the Bills? That seems too
I
high.
don't know.
The Bills, I
Should
thought
be
they were
points
good
in
on
there.
Monday night against Seattle.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Bills coming off a bye, too.
You know, I was looking at over-unders, trying to find a different way to lose money.
Yeah.
But there are some teams that are really good or really, like, the Bills are 7 of their 9 games went over. Falcons, 7 of their 9 went over. Colts, 7 of their 9 went over. Same with the Redskins and Tennessee and the Chargers and the Raiders.
What was the
Keep an eye
Pats?
on that.
What was the Pats Seahawks over under yesterday? Because I never bet over unders because I always lose, but that one I really strongly felt was going over.
Hold on,
It was 55.
I'll pull out my tally sheet.
You put your
Cheating,
tally
but-
sheet. Carried around.
Look at this. Look how sad
Oh, my
this
God.
is. I know. I'm a 46-year-old man. 49.5.
Yeah, that seemed like a lock, but I always lose.
I can't remember. What was it? Oh,
It was
31-24?
31-24, yeah.
Yeah. That was a weird game. All right. Well, Giants, Bears at Giants.
I didn't see 1 minute of the Bears game,
Good for you.
but apparently Cutler was...
Stop bragging.
Cutler... apparently Cutler, even for Cutler, was reprehensible.
Why were they favored on the road?
I don't know. There were weird lines. I
like-
don't think people know what
Like
to
the
make
Jets,
of these.
the Rams were favored on the road, and I guess that paid off, but I don't care who... If your quarterback's Case Keenum, I don't care who the other guy is.
Yeah.
You know? There were odd lines.
I have the Giants. See, this sucks because the Giants might suck tonight, and this line would be 3 points lower. But right now, I have the Giants by 9
All right, you went
over
high.
the Bears.
I said 7. 6.5.
Oh,
Vegas believes.
I went high on this one. Let's do Chiefs Bucks next because I went high on that one too. I thought they would bump them high so we couldn't do the 6-point teasers with them.
Okay.
Because I did Chiefs by 9 over the
You
Bucks.
did the same thing here. I said 6.5 at 7.5.
So I missed both.
So I get that. Yeah.
So why don't we just tease the Chiefs and the Giants right now? Because God hates us?
Should we? Do you want to watch the Giants first? What if Beckham gets hurt? What are we gonna do?
Who's costing us that tease? What if Beckham gets hurt? That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you had to bet your life on Beckham versus AJ Green tonight, more fantasy points, who would
Ooh.
you pick? It's a great one. It's a great question. Because I did a DraftKings team this week because my
I
real
did too. I didn't
fantasy
even
life-
check on it. You
Yeah,
texted me.
I botched it. I did.
Yeah.
I had Brady as my QB. He killed me.
Right.
But Beckham versus Green, I stared at for a while because their salaries were even, and I actually went with AJ Green.
You did.
Yeah, whenever they are in a big game, they just ride him, and he always ends up with 8 to 10 catches. So that was my thinking.
I'd give
Beckham
him
is just
that.
like he's like a home run hitter.
Right.
He'll have those games where he's just like 5 for 39.
Yeah.
But
He's like those home run hitters with the blonde, curly hair, just scampers around, making love to kicking nets.
What do you think
Tampa
of this?
Bay.
What do you think of the big soccer game on Friday night?
USA Mexico.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people look to bet through me. It's, they're always looking. Did you watch it? I didn't see
I
it.
saw the last 20 minutes.
So
I
it was
had a date with
1-1.
my wife.
Oh, you did.
We
And then
went
Mexico
to
scored at the end.
Yeah, Mexico scored on a corner kick where we didn't mark the forward, which you got to do in soccer. So you just have
Right,
to.
I guess. I
Guy
don't know what
folded
the hell that
off, came in. Everybody just watched him. But we have a guy who's a prodigy. Mm-hmm. This guy Pulisic.
We do.
Yeah.
That's American.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. He's 18. He's a prodigy. This
Oh,
is the
good.
guy. We've been waiting for this guy, and he's here.
Okay.
He's special. The way he just doesn't give a shit. I love it. I love how he plays.
He's like me.
I'm all in.
I don't give a shit either.
Number 10. Yeah, you don't give a shit about soccer. He
Right.
doesn't give a shit, period. I'm in on this guy. And by 2018, I'm going to be able to pronounce his name.
All right. Nice.
Pulisic.
I know I'm going to get you for Christmas now. A 17-year-old's jersey.
No, this is going to be the guy. I'm telling you, get ready for
Yeah?
a whole wave of stories
Okay.
about this dude.
Arizona at Minnesota.
I also may or may not have watched the last half hour of the under 20 women's World Cup last night on FS1 at
What
like midnight.
is going on with
I
you?
don't know. It was I
Really?
support my country, Sal. I like watching U.S. soccer
I had to
games.
talk Corolla off the ledge for you, choosing your daughter's soccer games over
I know.
coming to watch football.
Good thing he didn't bring this up on my last
I know.
HBO show.
I'm surprised you got it down to 45 seconds.
Jimmy's theory was great, though.
What's that?
Corolla he's all about who makes him look bad as a father.
Oh, right. That's
And
why
when
it
you're
was
going
bad,
to your
yeah.
kids' sporting events, it makes him look bad because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
in like Topeka, Kansas with August doing shows in the Holiday
No,
Inn.
even worse, he's watching football with us, and his kids are playing on the roof, and there are some bombarded, like crazy noises going on, and he will not break
He's not
conversation.
phased.
He doesn't care.
Not faced.
God bless him.
God bless him. God bless that man.
What did we say? Oh, Arizona and Minnesota. Is it possible this is a loser leaves town? God.
I don't think the Vikings are good, and I haven't felt good about them for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reflect that in this choice. Vikings by 2.5 over the Cards. I'm probably a half point off.
No, we're both way off. Wait a minute. I have to check this because this doesn't look right.
Vikings minus 2.5
You
against
said
the
Vikings
Cardinals.
minus 2.5?
Yeah.
This is all right. So I said Vikings minus 3.5, and you're gonna win this because it's Arizona minus 1.
Wow. Okay. Minnesota's not good.
They're not good.
They can't
scored,
block.
They scored 10, 10, 16, and 20 in the last 4. I guess they're improving, but even the defense is now giving up 97 yards rushing to a guy named R. Kelly.
Oh,
yesterday.
who helped beat you in fantasy
He
yesterday,
did,
Rob
right?
Kelly.
Oh, that's your guy.
Fat
Yeah.
Rob.
How much did you pay for him?
Like $0.
$0 pickup. You're like a game out of the playoffs, I think.
I know. I've been making moves.
This is stupid.
I'm making moves left and right.
Now, but listen, the season, you think it's over for Arizona?
Well,
It's a tough schedule. At Vikings, at Atlanta. They'll be favored against the Redskins. At the Dolphins. They'll be favored home against the Saints. And then at Seattle.
they're not very
That's
good.
tough.
The Niners, I tried not to watch a lot of this game, but
Yeah.
I thought David Johnson was going to have a huge game, and apparently they
No.
just took him out and dared Carson Palmer to beat them, and he couldn't.
They can't blow
because
anybody
he's
out.
pretty much done at
That
this
was
point.
one of my picks. San Francisco plus 13.
Nice one. That's a ballsy pick because they're terrible.
No, it sucks rooting for an awful team, but you have to do it once in a while.
It is one of those things though where you feel like there's just certain games where you're getting 5-6 extra points because nobody wants to take the other team,
Right.
and that's one of them. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to take San Francisco. Well, what if we offered you 13.5 points? All right, I guess I'll do it.
Throwing the floor mats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was Kaepernick in that game? Half decent?
He was fine. He was sluggish in the beginning. You expect him to run for more first downs instead of throwing the ball, making poor choices throwing. But he got it together. And
I can't
brought him
believe he
back
didn't
in.
vote.
They could have won the game.
I can't believe he didn't vote.
Why?
What
Who
a
cares?
jackass. This guy
believe anything that guy
positions
does.
himself as like the face of this whole movement, and then
Right.
he doesn't vote.
Yeah.
I don't understand anyone who doesn't vote.
He should have at least said he
My
voted.
apologies to anyone listening who loves this podcast
Mm-hmm.
who didn't vote for whatever their reasons. Like I'm sure they made sense to you. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like we have two choices.
Mm-hmm.
At some point you have to decide which choice is the more palatable choice for you. To not make a choice is bizarre to me. I just don't understand.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be
it.
honest with you then. You're
Yeah?
not going to like this.
You didn't vote.
No, I went to vote. I saw the first page. I stared at it for a minute and a half, which is not even nearly as long as I stare at these lines to try to figure them out. I turned the page. I was like, I don't want
You didn't vote?
I don't want
Oh
any
my
blood.
God.
I don't want blood. I voted for Kamala Harris. I was like, that's a nice, funny name. I voted on all the
Why didn't you write in somebody? Why didn't you write in like Uncle Frank or somebody?
Doesn't matter. No, I don't want blood on my hands. California's it's.
I guess that your vote
Yeah.
probably didn't
How
matter.
red you are. You're so mad at me.
I just don't understand.
I didn't cost us.
I understand what
I voted for the important stuff.
It's like if you're dating somebody for 4 years
Yeah.
and you could either marry them or break up with them,
Yeah.
and you just don't do either,
Interesting.
and
Yeah.
you just stare at each other.
Yeah.
Like at some point you just got to pick,
Right.
or maybe some people.
Well, what if
I don't know
what
what
if
I'm
she's
saying.
going to end up in jail? What do you do then? You marry her or break up with her?
What an election!
I know.
I mean,
It's
it
still
makes
crazy.
sense. I'm not against it. Everyone has their reasons. I just don't personally understand it. But for Kaepernick not to vote, I really didn't
Sure.
understand.
Yeah.
Because he had specifically positioned himself a certain way.
Right.
And then you can't just
What's the
shrink
most
from that.
shocking stat from the election? Voter breakdown. For me, it's 45% female college graduates went Trump. Never understand it.
There's so many things I don't understand.
I know.
A New Hampshire not voting for
Yeah.
Hillary, I thought was amazing. There's a lot of
There's a
amazing
ton.
stuff.
All right, let's move
Yeah.
on. Baltimore at Dallas.
I promise you, people just want to hear us talk about football.
Baltimore at Dallas.
I had to mute like 50 people on my Twitter.
Oh, really? I
can't-
thought you
I
don't
can't-
even check anymore.
No, on the people I follow.
Oh, I see.
I needed a break from every
Right.
story about how the world's ending.
Oh, I hate,
I can't take it
I
anymore.
had to join Facebook to be an administrator on my cousin Sal's short thing page, and I joined at the worst time.
Yeah.
In like September. I mean, it was awful, and I end up unfollowing people I agree with because it's just too much. It's crazy. Was one mind changed? I guess I don't know on Facebook. Can't
As a child of divorce, you're used to dealing with tragedy by just compartmentalizing it.
be. Nice.
That's how I'm choosing to deal with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am concerned.
All right. Baltimore at Dallas.
I have the Cowboys by 7.
You got it right. I went high, and I'm usually skeptical. I said 8. It is 7 exactly.
Lombardi called it last week on the Friday pod. The Ravens just fundamentally sound. They don't give up a lot of huge plays. They're good on special teams. They don't really make dumb mistakes. They just kind of hang around.
Yeah.
They're just in the game. Just do stuff. Bang it out. Make a couple big plays. They might hit the one big long. It's a little bit of a dangerous game. You guys haven't played a bad game in a while.
I feel like we've mowed through the AFC North, and like this is the team that might give us a problem.
Like the Pats, I don't think they played bad yesterday, but they had stuff happen like, Edelman fumbles, Cyrus Jones fumbles. They let Baldwin sneak through, right? Harmon comes over too late on the Baldwin down the middle at the end. All this, they just didn't play well in the game.
Right.
You haven't had a game like that in a while.
All right.
I'll be interested to see what happens when you do.
Well, it is interesting.
And also like Prescott, because I remember Brady had one bad game his first rodeo that first season. I remember Roethlisberger, the young rookie quarterback, has the one game where everything goes wrong. He just hasn't had it happen yet.
He hasn't had where everything goes wrong. He didn't have good stats against the Eagles before overtime. But yeah, you're right. He is winning. But Zeke is just now. Zeke and Brady are both plus 250 for MVP. You're going with your boy.
No, I would after 9 weeks, Zeke 100%.
Really?
Brady's played 5 games and we're 4-1. Like, how are you the MVP under that
He has
scenario?
1,200 rushing and receiving yard. Like he can get like over 2,000. Like that would be modest at this point.
Who do you think is the best player you've seen this season?
Why not Ezekiel Elliott?
He's in the conversation.
Slashes through the line. Like he looks like he weighs far too little to be able to get through these lines the way he does. Like I'm amazed every time I watch him. Still.
Yeah, because he'll have the touchdown runs where nobody touches him.
Yeah.
But the thing that for me that makes him special is just how he always gets 5 yards.
Yeah,
4
he's
yards,
so
5
powerful.
yards. It's like, oh, they're gonna stuff him. No. And Bell, I think, might be the second best player I've seen this year.
Oh, Le'Veon
Bell is
Ding
incredible.
Dong Bell, you mean?
Ding Dong Bell is some of those runs he had yesterday where he just stops.
Yeah, right.
It's like the fucking Matrix. Like he just stops.
He does
and
that
waits
thing
for
where
a
he tries to
second.
kick into gear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
He's so
Mid-run.
scary.
He's good.
Those are the two scariest
They should be
dudes.
winning
And
more.
that scary running back title seems to flip flop. Mm-hmm. Like Jamal Charles was terrifying a
Right.
couple years ago. Hold on, we got to take one more break.
Go ahead.
You never know when burglars are watching your house. We discussed this last week.
Mm-hmm.
They might have noticed Amazon packages piling on your front step. They might have noticed nobody parked in your driveway for a couple days. They might have noticed that your kids leave the front door open for no reason, like
do.
mine. With Simply Safe Home Security System, you don't have to worry about that stuff. Simply Safe protects your family, 24/7 professional security monitoring, and enough sensors to defend your entire home. You get 24/7 professional monitoring, just $15 a month, less than half what the other guys charge, by the way. And by having it, you could save up to 20% on your home insurance. Try Simply Safe right now. Go to simplysafebs.com, and you get a 60-day money-back guarantee as well as free shipping on your order and a free keychain remote. That's Simply Safe with two eyes. Once again, that is simplysafebs.com. All right.
There you go. All right. Tennessee at Indianapolis. Peter King calls this the greatest rivalry in all sports.
He calls it the greatest rivalry in the AFC South. I had the Colts by 2.5.
Yeah, you went low. Oh, wait. Actually, yeah, you're closer. I said 4. It's 3.
So the Colts, here are the teams they've beaten.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Chargers in either or game. They beat the Bears. They beat the Titans, ironically enough, in Tennessee 34-26.
34-26, yep.
And they beat the Packers in Green Bay. And everybody looked at that game and said, that was one of the weirdest games of the year. Like, I don't understand. The Colts are
Yeah.
terrible. How do they win in Green Bay?
Why
It
not?
turns out Green Bay's terrible.
Yeah.
Green Bay's terrible.
They're-
Lombardi and I talked about it on Friday. They're just not good, and they were reprehensibly bad yesterday.
Is it
And
all one player? Is it all Clay Matthews? Because he's gone the last 3 games, and they've allowed
I can't think.
crazy, man. They've
I can't
allowed
imagine it's
33,
one player.
31, and 47. Just Clay Matthews, come back and bring any younger brothers or sisters with you.
They're just not good. I actually think that they could really swoon here.
Yeah,
Because-
well, I mean, they don't have a running game still.
They don't have a running
handing
game.
off to Montgomery and doing weird things like that.
They don't really have any game breakers. And then you
Mm-hmm.
look at since week 5, they beat the Giants by 7.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Bears by 16. They've lost everything else. So they've won twice since week 3.
So, are you
Green
saying
Bay.
our another magical parlay is going to go down with the Browns and 49ers who love losing
very
more than
concerned.
anybody? And we had Lions on there also to not make the playoffs.
I'm
And
really
the Lions
concerned.
jumped into first place on their bye week. They jumped into first place somehow.
I'm concerned because they got Jacksonville this week at home.
Yeah.
They're terrible. Mm-hmm. They have Minnesota on a Thursday night at New Orleans. They play Chicago at home, at the Giants, at Dallas, home for Green Bay. So
Well, I don't know.
that's at least 3 more wins. That gets them to 8. And they might have like a game lead on Green Bay that last game. Mm-hmm. Plus your team.
And they beat Minnesota.
What if your team has nothing to play for in week 16?
Can you
might have the
imagine?
1 seed locked up.
I'll get them to play. I'll say, hey,
you play.
I'll say we need these. We need this
the
parlay
Lions.
to come in. So
We can go against that Lions bet though.
oh, man,
Well,
I can't
we could.
believe
If
we're
it-
saying this.
if it
I
comes
know,
down
it's
to it, we'll
so
just go
stupid.
against it.
I know. All right.
Lions, Niners, Browns before the season not to make the playoffs. One of the great easy locks of all time. We did do the Pats to go 8-4 with the Cards not to make the playoffs after week 4. That one's going to win.
8-4 with Brady. Yeah, that
that's
should
gonna
win. Until you just said it's going to win. Now,
Well, they'd
now-
have to go
now it's not
5
gonna
and
win.
5-4 the rest of the way, or no?
Yeah.
No, they'd have to go 3-4 the rest of the way. The Pats. We're not losing that.
No, but Arizona's the one I'm thinking could.
Arizona's not making the playoffs. That's not
I
happening.
hope someone's gathering all
Tate,
these
is Arizona
sound bites.
making the playoffs?
No, they can't.
Arizona's
Okay.
not making the
All right.
playoffs. Cross them off.
Pittsburgh at Cleveland.
Ooh. I didn't know how high to go on this one. Because it is unequivocally a must-win game for Pittsburgh.
Sure.
There's no, trap game. They have to win.
Well, that's why I look. They're 4-5, but they still have 2 games against Cleveland, so they're really 6-5. And then look at the rest of the schedule; they might be okay.
They're 4-5 with two. Don't they have another crappy team they're playing? They have so they're at Cleveland, then they're at Indy on Thursday night, which is a team they should annihilate.
That's Thanksgiving night. Is that Thanksgiving? Yeah.
And they have their last two are home games. I think the Steelers, their offense is in the top 3 or 4.
Right.
I'm not sold on their defense though.
No, I know. They're in trouble.
It's a below average defense. It looks like
They have, what were you, did you, I like the 2-point conversion thing for them. For them, I liked it. For Pete Carroll, I didn't. I don't care. I'd rather see 20 missed 2-point conversion attempts than one missed extra point attempt.
I like that Tomlin has made it his thing. When they score first, he goes for it to try to go up 8-0.
Right,
It's kind of like it's
good.
Trying to patent it almost.
Oregon-esque. Yeah.
Speaking of patenting,
Yeah.
every time somebody pulls off the fake spike, people talk about Marino.
He did invent it, didn't he?
He's the inventor. Now, allegedly, Bernie Kosar might have done it before him.
Oh, really?
But I always feel like it's the Marino play.
Against the Jets, yeah.
And Marino didn't win a ring. A lot of people haven't won a ring.
Give Marino something.
This is great for him. He's the inventor of the fake spike.
That's true.
I think it really, if you can't win, like, what did Karl Malone invent? Karl
Yeah,
Malone
it's
didn't
true.
win a ring. I can't name anything Karl Malone invented.
Right. Yeah.
Charles Barkley didn't win a ring, but he's got inside the NBA.
It's a good idea, yeah.
But Marino is the inventor of the fake spike. Not a lot of inventors. Like Dick Fosbury, he invented the Fosbury flop.
Right.
The rope-a-dope Ali. Like there's, I don't know.
Patrick Ewing invented the Ewing theory.
Patrick Ewing inspired the Ewing theory.
Well, poor Bernie Kosar. Now I feel bad. He could have
Yeah.
had something invented. Maybe taken away from him.
There's plenty of other reasons to feel bad for Bernie Kosar.
What do you have for a line here, Cleveland?
I had Pittsburgh by 13.
Yeah, you went a little high. I don't blame you because Cleveland's lost by 14, 25, and 21, 3 of the last 4. I went 11. It's 9.5.
So explain that to me because the Cardinals-Niners game went up to 13.5, and the Steelers are much more of a threat to just blow somebody out.
I mean, Cleveland puts up a valiant effort. I think they were winning at halftime against Baltimore, and then they just remember that they had to stay laser focused on getting that number 1 pick.
They're a 20-minute team, as Lombardi would say.
That's it. I don't know. That should be higher. I think it will go to 11 or 12 there. Pittsburgh favored to win the North, plus 140.
Makes sense.
You think so? All right. Jacksonville at Detroit. We haven't done this yet, right?
No, are we still in the early games?
Yeah, this is the last one. Yeah.
I don't like this at all, and I don't agree with it or condone it, but I have Detroit by 7.5.
We both had 7.5. It's 6.5. Another one that might be a little low. They discussed, whoever you like as president, Obama or Trump, these guys have a tough job. Creating jobs is harder than it looks. When Gus Bradley is freaking 12 and 43, and you can't even open up that job for somebody.
Right.
How are you supposed to get,
I saw a stat today that the Jaguars, since the last time they forced a turnover, which was like week 4 or week 5, they've turned the ball over 12 times.
To 0.
So the last 12 turnovers in a Jaguars game, they're minus 12.
Wow.
It's like impossible. Like the Chiefs have had, I think, 12 turnovers in their last 5 games that they've forced. And the Jags are, I think they're minus 14 for the season. But when you have an offense that turns the ball over and a defense that can't force turnovers, like just start there. You're a disaster.
Yeah.
And that's before you add in all the other
They're
terrible
another
things.
20-minute team.
But they spent money in their defense, though. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, they're always in the mix in free agency.
And people like Jalen Ramsey. Mm-hmm. You almost took Jalen Ramsey.
I think that might have been our guy. Who knows? I don't think we would have gone Bosa. I'm trying to think who. Well, Bosa was gone. I don't know. Who
Bosa was 3. Elliott was 4.
Yeah.
Ramsey was 5. It's a great draft.
I know.
Except for poor Jared Goff. Who
Prescott was 135.
The Browns,
we have that game right now. Miami at the Rams. And Jared Goff, is he playing? There's talk about him playing, but is it more embarrassing if he plays and is bad like the organization knows? Or if
there's got to be a reason he's not playing.
Yeah.
The Browns traded that pick in a trade that seemed like a really smart trade. Mm-hmm. But then Bosa and Zeke Elliott were the next 2 picks.
Right.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Like, forget about the whole quarterback thing. Like, they could have. Joey Bosa is like a beast.
It's fun.
That guy's all over the place.
He's figured out how to play pro football.
And they almost, if you watch that San Diego Miami game closely, They hit Tannehill, and he threw this pass. It was falling down. It hit somebody in the helmet. It just popped up in the air right in front of the goal line. And like 3 Chargers are there, and none of them could find it.
Yeah.
And if it pops up like 2 inches to the right, somebody catches it. It's a touchdown. They win. And that's the Chargers season in a nutshell.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the Rams that don't score.
I have the Dolphins by 3.5 over the Rams.
I said Dolphins by 2. It's Dolphins by 1. So I get that one.
That doesn't make sense to me. The Dolphins are much better.
This team can't score. They don't score. How is this Rob Boris, this offensive coordinator, still have a job?
That's his name?
Yeah, I think so. Miami has 4 in a row.
So they had 10 points, 10 points, 6 points last 3 games?
That sounds right.
They've done one magical thing, though. They've made Kenny Britt somebody that you might actually start in a fantasy week, which we've been waiting for 7 years. I think we've all had him. He's one of those guys who's been on everyone's team who's ever played fantasy.
He's just so big. And
Yeah.
you forget Case Keenum.
Oh, my God.
Philly at Seattle. It's a good one.
It's a nice one. It's not a good matchup for Seattle. Throwing that out there. Nice pass rush for this offensive line that allegedly got fixed last week. I don't think it got fixed at all.
Hangover game too, maybe?
The Seahawks by 6, I have.
All right, so I had 4. You had 6. Opened at 4.5 last night before the game. Went to 6, so you're going to get that.
Great.
Let me add yours here.
That sounded like an excuse
6,
for
1,
that you
2,
just
3.
rang. You're like, well, it opened at 4.5.
All right, I'm up 7-6 if we include ties here. Otherwise, it's 4-2 or 4-3.
That looks like an underdog special, that Eagles game.
Maybe. New England at San Francisco. This is not an underdog special.
No, and it's a game that the Pats actually have to win because freaking Denver.
You're going to win. Don't worry about it.
Denver yet again. The Kubiak Broncos, and actually it dates back to the Tebow era. I don't think any team has pulled more wins out of the deep recesses of their asshole than Denver.
Yeah.
Yesterday was, even for them, amazing. The block 2-point conversion.
Well, they're up 10-0.
The block PAT to get 2 points to win.
I was watching that closely because that was one of my picks. They're up 10-0. Simmons at the 20-yard line, about to put it away, like 13 or 17-0. I think is good. He throws an interception, and then it was all
terrible
Saints
pass
for like an hour and a half.
Yep.
And did you think he stepped out of bounds?
Yes.
Simmons from Boston College blocks the kick. You should be excited by that.
I was excited.
And then Parks picks it up. Maybe stepped out of bounds. Hard to tell if they're all wearing the Pat Tillman cleats. I think we know better, but it's white on white, so we can't see.
Explain this to me. The
Runs it
league's
back for
worth
two.
$100 billion. How do we not have cameras on all 4 pylons that
Should be
just have
pretty
the
close.
straight shot of the line?
Pylon, so from
you
like
have
60
4
yards away,
cameras,
you get it? Yeah.
Just boom each way that you can see everything.
They
Here's
should
why I think
they should be able to nail that one.
I don't know if this is part of their review process, but the reason I definitely think he touched the line was because everyone on the Saints went nuts the moment his foot hit the line. And it wasn't like, I'm looking at each other, we're like, he touched the line. Like, They went crazy.
What was he doing anyway? He
I
didn't
don't
have
know.
to get so close. He had a guy with a 6 at the beginning of his number chasing him. Like, what? You don't have to step out of bounds. He was fine forever.
Do you think they should have somebody 20 yards back who's just kind of making sure nothing happens? Do we need 9 blockers for a field goal?
On your kick? I don't know. Well, I mean, the kick was blocked, so I guess you need more blockers. You should
Or
rush.
do you need somebody who hits the guy who's jumping the line?
Yeah, maybe. Coach Belichick would rush too on the.
I just
block
refuse to believe that all these different things they do about how to behave on the line, and yet the one thing people can do is just jump over the snapper.
kick. Yeah, and he
It
can't make
seems illegal.
contact, right?
Can't make contact.
To me, it's like, if
The other
if you
guy
could
pulling the guy's head down as he jumped. It was a set play.
But there's a million things I can't do in the NFL these players do. If you could hurdle a man and not touch him with your heel or anything, God bless you.
I'd like to read the definitive list of all the games the Broncos have pulled out of their assholes since Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow might not be in the NFL, but he blessed them with his Tebow pull out of the ass
They're
juice.
still your most hated team.
I just can't stand it. I can't believe that they're a game behind the Pats right now.
Yeah, it is strange.
I will say, though, to praise the Broncos, Von Miller is amazing.
Awesome.
I just can't understand how he times the snap. Like when you watch it, you're just like, how's he doing this? How are they not screwing it up? How does he, like, what are his fast twitch muscles that he can just every time? And what would it be like to block him? Like, I don't think since Lawrence Taylor has there been somebody who, if you're a attacker, you're like, oh my God, in 3 hours, they're just going to suck.
They're super. It's still a great unit.
Yeah, it is. And you know, that's another team that has the big safety that lays it out and makes guys afraid to go over the middle. When guys go over the middle in that team, they get hit. Michael Thomas got crushed yesterday during that game. But Thomas, same thing. All right, what do we got?
What do you mean, Thomas? Oh.
Thomas on Seattle.
Oh, Earl Thomas. Yeah. All right, now we have, we didn't even pick. So we both said 14 for this.
Yeah.
And it is 14. And I don't know what we could do with that, but
I predict that ends up at 14.5.
it should not be close, that game. Sunday night, Green Bay at Washington. You're going to be starting R. Kelly again?
R. Kelly.
That's how I see it on everything. It's R. Kelly.
Are we sure Washington's not good?
I don't know.
Why does it seem like Washington's good and none of us want to admit it?
5-3-1.
5-3-1,
They
but
should have won that
won a
Cincinnati
couple
game.
other ones.
Yeah.
I'm looking at they got killed on opening night. You barely beat them.
Could have lost. Yeah.
You easily could have lost that one, and the Lions should have lost to them and didn't. And then what happened in the tie? Didn't they miss the field goal? Somebody met the overtime tie against the Bengals. Didn't they mess that up?
Oh, everyone
messed that up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're good. They're a good team, and that, like I said, the Eagles are 5-4 in last place. You can't sleep on anybody. What'd you
I
have
have the
for
Redskins by 3.5 over Green Bay, and I look forward to an entire week of what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers, which is one of the more fun subplots of the season.
Well, you're going to like this even more because the Redskins right now are only favored by 3.
What'd you have?
I said 3.
So you won the week.
I won the week. I'm sorry. I broke your streak. It's 5-4-2
doing
now,
really well
through 11.
Before we do the Monday night game, let's talk about Sonos. It's a smart speaker system that streams all of your favorite music to any room or every room. Control your music with one simple app on your phone or iPad or any other device. Fill your home with pure immersive sound. Sonos brings your music together in one simple app. It's all your favorite music services. And you control everything from the choice of songs to the volume to the rooms. Play your music in any room or every room at once, or play a different song in the living room, bedroom, even bathroom, or play the same track in every single room. How can you have a party without Sonos? You didn't do it. You had your Halloween party. You didn't have Sonos.
You weren't even there. How did you know?
I didn't want to come because
you were
didn't
at a
have
soccer
Sonos.
tournament at Disneyland.
No, when I heard Sonos wasn't there, I didn't come. Add your existing music services. Discover something new. Go to Sonos.com right now. Free shipping on all the orders, by the way, if you go there. Sonos.com.
I'll tell you what happened. I had Sonos, and it was stolen from the house because I didn't have the other.
You didn't have SimpliSafe.
I didn't have SimpliSafe. Yeah.
Just get SimpliSafe and Sonos. You'll never lose the Sonos.
Too much to remember.
All right. Monday night.
Houston at Oakland, but not really at Oakland, in Mexico City.
I know, and I actually accounted for it this time.
I was going to bet whether or not you had that. And then I saw your low line, and I was like, oh, he did.
So Oakland, Houston, in Mexico.
It's fun. That's got to be our Don Julio game next week, right? We can't.
We'll make that. Let's agree on that now. I put this right directly in the Vegas zone and I had the Raiders by 5.
I went high because Vegas loves this team. So they have a different zone for Oakland. I said 6. It is 6. Now, do we just make a teaser with everyone and just have Oakland the last game? Hopefully.
I don't know if I trust the Raiders in Mexico. Remember when they were in Tampa and they almost lost to that Tampa team?
Right.
They decided not to fly back and spent the week in Tampa, and then they almost blew that stupid Tampa game. So you think
this is like a Thursday night game? Like we can't really even...
I think in Mexico, all bets are off.
Interesting.
I wouldn't put them in a tease.
That's for sure. Mexico, all bets
weird.
are off.
It's a weird vibe. You need like... They have like big security vans driving the players to the games.
Right.
Like you're stuck in your hotel the whole time. I don't know. Weird vibe. I will say, though, that the Osweiler thing is at an all-time tsunami of anti-QB. Like Houston, what else are they doing in Houston? The Rockets are like a 500 team.
Yeah.
All they're talking about in Houston is whether Osweiler was their starting QB or not. And
I just feel like O'Brien talks to his team. It's like, let's just win our division games. Who are we kidding here? Let's, that's all we
go
need to do.
6-0 in our division.
Yeah,
and 3
let's do
and
it.
3 and 5
3 and
everywhere
7.
else.
Yeah,
or
we're
3 and
fine.
7.
That's it.
That's true. They go 3 and 7 the rest of
I
the
think
thing.
that's the pep talk in the locker room. I really do.
I don't understand how DeAndre Hopkins could be so useless in fantasy football when he's healthy.
Yeah.
It's the biggest crime of the season.
And he had 4 nobodies thrown to him last year.
Yeah.
And had
And think of
monster
the-
stats.
Remember the years Fitzgerald would still get to 100 yards with just like dead guys throwing the ball,
Right.
basically? I don't know. Just throw the ball to him 8 times. Just throw 40-yard bloop passes.
A lot of it doesn't make sense. Their running game should be much better. That offense should click by now.
$72 million. Is there anything else we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about... Oh, I have a quote for you.
A quote.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Peter King on Tony Romo.
Oh, good.
Only the president of the Tony Romo fan
I
club
read that
would
this
suggest
morning.
that one of the most beloved players in recent Cowboys history should get his job back. Well, we're here with the president. Do you think he should get his job back?
Yes, and he will. You'll see. I told you I'm taking matters into my own hands. I don't like what's been going on. Even Romo was like, I'll back up, whatever.
I'm going to ask you 2 questions in a row, and they're somewhat tangentially related.
Uh-huh.
Would you rather have the Cowboys win the Super Bowl or Romo somehow gets his job back and takes them to the Super Bowl and you don't know what's going to happen? I'm guaranteeing you a Cowboys Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or I'm guaranteeing you Romo is back in the mix and you have a 50-50 chance in the Super Bowl with Romo.
That's a really awful friend of a question. B.
And that's why he's the president of the Tony Romo fan club.
He wins the game. I'm not worried. If we can get us to the Super Bowl, he's gonna win the game.
All right, here's the
There's
second question.
another one.
Would you rather Trump wins the election
Yeah.
and everyone at Jimmy Kimmel Live gets 4 years of material for the monologue
That's what's. Yeah.
and it writes itself,
Right.
or Trump doesn't win the election?
Do we get paid? Do we get our money back?
Trump makes your job easier for the next 4 years.
I think
There's no meeting you have over the next 4 years where everybody's looking at each other going, nothing's going on today. We got to go
listen.
to Hollywood Boulevard and do something.
I passed when it was time to vote. I'm going to pass again now.
Great. Good
Romo
choice.
should be cool. What would you say? Don't you care about the show? You want Hillary
I
Clinton?
think
Was this, if you would compare this to a boxing match, was this Trinidad De La Hoya where,
no, this was Tyson Douglas. This was
but she had it and then let up, I think.
No,
I think
this
it
was-
was about letting up. No?
even though the odds are different,
Yeah.
this was all the signs were there and we chose not to look at them.
Interesting.
Tyson, it's like the guy's life was in an absolute spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in Japan and he's got 2 people in his corner and he's not training anymore and he's completely
Right.
out of his mind. And yet we're just like, oh, it's Tyson, it's fine. And it was like that with the election where everyone's just looking at it going, well, Trump's not actually going to win. I
Yeah.
mean, she's going to, it'll be fine.
There's too
And
much
then,
of that.
Yeah, that would be the boxing thing. Why?
It's
What boxing?
unbelievable.
What
No, I
fight-
thought Trinidad. So De La Hoya was ahead a lot, and then just took it for granted. It's kind of the same reasoning. He took it for granted, and then Trinidad.
Do you think she took
won
it for
that.
granted, or do you think that there were people? Everyone just underestimated.
Well,
the
she didn't
fact
campaign in Wisconsin since the primary. She
But
didn't do.
what does that do, though? You really think that swings it?
I think Beyonce doesn't swing it. I think the mannequin challenge doesn't swing it. I think she does all
Right.
things that aren't relatable to the people in Scranton and the blue collar worker who's doesn't know what they're doing at this point.
I said to Jacko on Friday on the pod that clearly everyone underestimated how many people were unhappy in America, and she just represented the old way. She's status quo.
Right.
People didn't want the status quo anymore. They were ready for anything. I think that's the part we underestimated.
Listen, I don't think we're ever going to agree as a nation if we can't come to terms. No one's going to agree. People are still crying over the Kate McKinnon sketch and saying it's the bravest thing they've ever seen. And then there's people who want to strangle every SNL writer for putting that on the air. Come on. What are we doing?
I
You don't want to comment. You can comment, Simmons. You didn't love that. Is it a comedy show?
thought it was a time for comedy. It 5 days later, comedy.
He hosted the show a year ago, less than a year ago.
That's the thing.
Give me a break. And if he said he'd do it next week, they'd let him host next week.
He hosted the show.
Give me a break.
He hosted the show a year ago.
Okay.
And
All right. She kind of dressed. She put on a Halloween costume and sang a Dead Man song, and that was it.
It was a good performance.
It was great. But when you see, we were talking about like when you see someone playing piano on a comedy show, you think they're going to take their hands off the piano and the piano's going to keep playing. Like, where's the funny part?
Yeah.
Just didn't see it. All right. I know you don't want to get into this. That's fine.
No,
That's fine.
I'm torn on it because I thought it was a moment, but I also think that they missed a really good chance to.
Chappelle stuff was great.
The Chappelle was great.
Yeah.
And that the thing for me is I was so happy that Chappelle was throwing heat again. Mm-hmm. That kind of,
Awesome.
overdid the other stuff.
All right. Well, let me just promote this. Cousin Sal Sure Thing, 2-1 last week. I'm bouncing back 18-12 on the year.
Nice.
Tune in Friday at noon Eastern. And this week I'm going to Vegas, and you should come. I'm going to Ward Kovalev with a couple friends.
What
Go to that
Saturday
fight.
night?
Yes.
Ward Kovalev. Who do we like in that fight?
2 undefeated. Well, Ward is minus 145, and I like him a lot, except I don't think we've ever won a minus 145 in boxing. Maybe not in football either.
Ward is favored over Kovalev?
Yeah.
And you like Ward?
I like them. Yeah.
I think Kovalev.
You do?
I would never bet against Kovalev.
Really?
Ever.
This should have a bigger USA-Russia thing, shouldn't it? Shouldn't this be?
It really should. Did you see UFC? I didn't see it because
I saw the highlights
my
of-
parents were here and we had a birthday dinner, and I would have happily paid for McGregor, but didn't see it.
Right. I just saw
My
highlights.
UFC friend said it was like a C+, the card.
Well, the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Yeah.
McGregor was awesome, and has
I
so
can't
much-
speak to it. I don't know who that guy fights.
So do you
next.
think Ward Kovalev, if people don't get excited about this fight this week, that's a bad
Well, I
sign?
think this will happen 3 times. So I don't know what the result will be this time. But
Kovalev killed a guy in the ring like 3 years ago.
they have to.
He really did.
Yeah.
Like, go Google it. He killed somebody.
So let's go Kovalev.
I
What
think
do you
he's
wanna do?
terrifying. I'm so afraid of Kovalev.
You wouldn't go decision? Decision's minus
don't-
220. They need this to happen 3 times. This is a new trilogy.
I think
hopeful that's
Kovalev
gonna-
is terrifying.
Really?
I would not bet on Ward.
All right.
Yeah.
Come with us.
Saturday night?
Yeah.
I want to watch my daughter run around a soccer field.
Stop it. Jimmy Kimmel Live. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is on tonight. Billy Eichner, music from Dawes. Later in the week, Casey Affleck, Garth Brooks, and Billy Crystal. And I'm at the Cousin Sal.
Would you ask Dwayne Johnson if he's going to run for president in
We should,
2020?
right? Yeah. I think
Why
that's
wouldn't he?
I think he would
Trump-
win. I think Kanye would win. I don't know. I think anyone could win now.
Do you know that so Jimmy and Adam are on, we taped the show Tuesday.
Yeah. I heard
We
you had
do-
to cut a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, the first 2 things we did were we set it up like Hillary was going to win the election because she was a 5-1 favorite. So the first topic was loser late night TV shows because they lose Trump from the
boy.
monologues.
Yeah.
Talk about that for 3 minutes. Adam tells this whole apprentice how he got fired story and talks about his hair. We go that route. And then the second one was winner, The Rock, because Trump has now laid the groundwork for somebody to win a campaign.
You could have
Basically,
kept that in, couldn't you?
no, because the way we talked about it was
see.
like Trump came so close, but
I
it was like
gotcha.
basically
Right.
force of personality and social media audience equals you can win the presidency.
Right.
And The Rock, if Trump can win and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura can be governors, after what we just saw, I feel like The Rock can get 60 million
we did
votes.
this. We said this a few months ago. I don't even remember. We did a preseason podcast or something. I called in and we said The Rock. That's the one guy who we would put. I mean, great speaker. Where does he fall short?
Well, especially if you're going to take the presidency from Trump, assuming he hasn't been impeached
Yeah.
in 4 years from now, it's got to be a performer and somebody who can handle him in the debates and just
Right.
the stuff he does. That
It's-
was the thing. He just steamrolled everybody.
It's got to be another WWE Hall of Famer.
Right.
Trump's a Hall of Famer. The Rock's a Hall of Famer. Afa and Sika, the Samoans. I don't know. Maybe campaigning in Des Moines. I don't know if it works.
I forgot to tell that to you. The winners, quote unquote, other than all the people who won because Trump got elected.
Yeah.
But I think the late night shows and Sam B and Oliver, all
Yeah.
those people, like they get 4 more years of material now and topics. But then also the WWE. a WWE Hall of Famer as a president.
Just go watch the 9-second clip of him attacking McMahon and fake punching him in the crowd going crazy outside the ring. It's spectacular.
Thanks to FrameBridge, the official framing home of every gratuitous eBay purchase I've made in 2016. Go to framebridge.com, use promo code BS. You get 15% off your first order. All shipping is free. Thanks to theringer.com and the Ringer Podcast Network. Check out our new gamer podcast on Channel 33. It's called Achievement Oriented. It's hosted by Jason Concepcion and Ben Lindbergh. This weekend, they broke down the new Nintendo NES Classic. Listen to that on Channel 33. Have you seen the Nintendo NES Classic?
I didn't. I saw you were bummed out that they didn't make enough.
You know, Tecmo Bowl and Mike Tyson's Punch Out and Donkey Kong, all this stuff is on there. We can play with our kids, and it's not like, landing an airplane. We can just play Tecmo Bowl, and there's 4 plays to pick from. Like, my son can handle that.
Do we have to know someone to get one now, or are they just...
There's black market.
All right, good.
Thanks to Pearl Jam for letting us use a lot of their songs for the BS podcast from their 2016 Wrigley Field shows. Go to pearljam.com. Celebrate their 25th anniversary. They're calling it PJ25. Lots of good stuff coming. Get ready. I think we're going to have 2 more podcasts this week. Play us out, Eddie.